Whew, okay. All right. We're going to do this. We're going to make this video. We're going to make this video. Baby. So in this video, I will be discussing the comparison between Atlanta or Dallas, and I will be giving you just some information on my experiences in living in both of those places. And so I'm just going to get straight to it. I'm going to talk about Atlanta first because I'm originally from Georgia. For those of you who don't know, I'm originally from Georgia. I lived in Atlanta for about 7 years almost. And then I recently relocated to Dallas in March of 2020. Yes, in the middle of a pandemic, right when it started actually. But I lived in Atlanta for about 7 years, and I would say if you are considering moving to Atlanta, this is definitely a city that you would want to plan for as much as possible. I noticed that, okay, I was about in my early 20s. I'm almost 30 now, but I was in my early 20s when I first moved to Atlanta. I want to say I was about 22 or 23 years old. I believe I was 22. And while living in Atlanta, you will need stability. Say it with me, stability. You will need some type of stability. I would not recommend moving to Atlanta without a job. That is just something that you would want to solidify before you move to Atlanta. It's just it is a city where people go to hustle. I like to call it like the mini New York, where you can hustle. But if you don't really have like a hustle, and what I mean by hustle, I mean like just something that you're good at, like a art. Like if you don't do hair, makeup, if you're not like any sort of graphic designer, logo maker, if you don't already have an established business or something that you know that you're going to be able to operate in fully once you move to Atlanta, I would highly recommend solidifying a job. It's not a city that I would recommend moving to and then getting a job. I typically would say just move without a job sometimes, but I just from my personal experiences, I would say move to that city with a job. I moved to Atlanta with a temporary job. Now that is something that you can consider. However, the temporary job that I moved to Atlanta on, they always just had assignments for me. So I just got lucky. And then I also just had that hustle in me to always have a job. Like I just always had a job when I was in Atlanta. The times that I went without a job, it wasn't very long. Like it may have been a month at the most. If not, I always had like a job in between spaces. God was just able to sustain me in between jobs. So I will say, if you are considering moving to Atlanta, I would highly recommend that you have a job. Interview for jobs, fly there for jobs. You can visit for the weekend. And that's going to lead me to my next thing. A lot of people go to Atlanta and they visit Atlanta when they're with their girlfriends or their homeboys, and they just assume like, oh, this is just what Atlanta is because you're having a fun time. Not just for Atlanta, but for any city that you're considering moving to. Don't just visit when you are with your friends or when, like if you're considering moving there, like you have to understand that when you go there, this is where you're going to be living with or without your friends. So Atlanta's a fun city. Any city you are considering moving to may be a fun city. But I just want you to kind of think about what would that space be like without your friends? Because outside of all of the fun, you still have to maintain a living for yourself. So faith aside, all things aside, we're just talking about realistically you actually moving to Atlanta and saying like, hey, I'm just going to quit my job and I'm just going to go. I wouldn't recommend that. No. Unless God has told you to move to Atlanta with no job, don't go without a job. I would highly recommend that you have a job when living in Atlanta. The cost of living can be pretty expensive. It's not one of those cities where you can just get there and easily get a job. I don't want to set the expectation. It's not like that. They don't pay as much as other cities do for jobs. However, this is not saying that you cannot get a job in Atlanta. You can absolutely get a job in Atlanta. It just may not come as easy as it would moving from your current city, depending on where you live. For me, I was moving from Atlanta from a small town. Millen, Georgia is where I'm from. I also was living in Statesboro. So if you do your research, those are not places that jobs come to people easily. So for me, Atlanta was the land of opportunity. I call Dallas my promised land, and I call Atlanta the land of opportunity. And that may be what it is for some of you. So some of you, I just want to make this disclaimer before I go any further. This is not a video to discourage you to move to one place or the other. This is simply to provide my experiences on living in both places, and to just share knowledge of, you know, what I know from living in both spaces. I have not lived in Dallas very long, so I may have more information about Atlanta than I do Dallas, but I'm just simply saying this is not to discourage you from moving to either locations. I enjoyed both. I love both. Let me just be very clear. Forever, I love Atlanta. If God were to call me back to Atlanta tomorrow and say, hey, I need you back in Atlanta, I'm on the first flight back to the A. Okay, that's just what it is. So Atlanta has a special place. In my heart, I moved to Atlanta and I grew up in Atlanta. Like, Atlanta grew me up. It exposed me to a lot of different things that I needed. I don't even think that I could actually live here in Dallas and just have this peace. I mean, yes, God gave me peace, but I don't think I would even be able to have this peace, because there were things that I needed that grew me up and that I learned while living in Atlanta that I'm using now in Dallas. So I'm forever grateful for Atlanta. And so now, just moving to the next thing, the cost of living in Atlanta. When I moved there, it was, I've always considered that Atlanta, I've always said, like, the cost of living in Atlanta is expensive. However, I noticed, like, your expenses will grow as you're getting older and as the city changes, and, you know, as they're building the city up. At one point, my best friend and I were rooming together in Duluth, and we were paying about, I think, $700 or $800 for rent, and we thought that was expensive at that time. Now, moving on along, we found another apartment in like 2017, and we were paying like $1,400, and we were like, man, like, do you remember when we only had to pay like our little $5 something a piece, and we thought that was expensive, and now we're here paying $700, and now in 2021 we're like, man, we're paying rent by ourselves, and we would love to just do those days of just splitting rent with someone. So the cost of living in Atlanta is anywhere for a decent apartment, depending on your taste. That's another thing. When you move to Atlanta, I want to just say budget for the comfort for the level of comfort that you are willing to live in Atlanta. I hope I said that in a way that you can attain it. But like, if you're gonna move to Atlanta, definitely consider the cost of living. So things you should consider when moving to Atlanta: the cost of living, the area that you want to live in, the job that you want to have. Those are just the three things for me. Like, I knew when I lived in Atlanta, I had this idea that I was going to live dead smack in the middle of the city. Like, I was going to move to Atlanta. I was going to live right in the middle of the city. I had an idea that I was going to live in a floor to ceiling high rise and all of these things. And that didn't happen for me, honestly. I lived all over the place in Atlanta. I lived all over Atlanta, okay? Like, I lived with friends, I lived with family members. Just being very transparent, I lived all over the place. I always had a roommate until I think up until 2017 is when, no, I'm sorry, 2016, I lived in my own apartment by myself, and I think I was paying at $1,000. And don't go by my prices, because again, when I was living in Atlanta, I had roommates, and I also worked in property management, so I was able to live on property and get 20% off of my rent, which made my rent a little bit more affordable for me. But just living in Atlanta as a whole, I think the price range for a decent apartment that's in a close proximity into the city, you're gonna at least start paying $1,000 on up. I'm not even gonna hold you and say like you're not gonna pay. You can get a decent apartment for $900. You will get a decent apartment for $900, but it won't be in the city. I'm just being straightforward with you. So prepare yourself to drive, you know, a distance, or to not even, you know what, if you don't drive a distance to live near the city, you may be living in like a shabby apartment, so it may not be souped up. And what I call souped up, I like granite countertops, hardwood flooring, stainless steel appliances, gated communities. I love, like, I have a taste for luxury apartments, so I would say, like, if you don't really care about those things, then you'll be fine. You can live in like Marietta, Smyrna. You can live in areas like Decatur, like a safe area in Decatur. However, just prepare your hearts and your minds to spend about $1,000 for rent in Atlanta. And I would say as far as jobs go, it really wasn't, it's not bad. Most people, if you have like a degree in something, I don't have a degree yet, so I was able to find a job though. Like excuse me, I've always had a job in Atlanta that paid me pretty decent. I was a flight attendant. I worked in property management. I worked in a pharmacy because I had my pharmacy tech license for Georgia. I pretty much had a job. I worked as a recruiter right in Buckhead. Like, I've had jobs. So I don't think that finding a job would be a problem. I just wouldn't recommend moving to Atlanta without a job. I just think that for a city like Atlanta, you would need a job. I would say you would need a job. If God hasn't told you to move to Atlanta without a job, make sure that the level of faith that you are operating on, that you're really trusting God. Like, I wouldn't say just up and like, oh, I'm gonna just pack my bags and move to Atlanta. The memes were right. Moving to Atlanta won't solve your problems, okay? If you're not trusting God and if you don't already have a solid plan for moving to Atlanta. Other than that, it's a great city to live in. The nightlife is just so much fun. Like, you always have things to do. Hookah lounges. It just depends on what you like to do. So hookah lounges, they have, I don't even know. Like, I like to brunch, so I'm kind of biased. I like to brunch, so if you're looking for swag surfing over waffles, that is your place. If you like hookah, if you like black people, I love Atlanta. I love black people. They had all the things that I needed, so I love the city. Like, they're steady building new restaurants and new things for people to do. And not just for black people. If you like hiking, they have Stone Mountain. They have there's this place in Roswell where you can just hike up this this waterfall. I don't know the name of it at the moment, but I will be sure to put that information in the comment section. But definitely Atlanta does have places for you to adventure and just have fun. Coca-Cola, they have Coca-Cola. They have, wow, they have a lot of things that you can do in Atlanta. I more so like just hanging out with my girls on the weekend and going to brunch. Churches, they have churches all over the place. The pandemic has pretty much affected the way that church life goes, but I was a part of a church in Atlanta, and they have Victory Atlanta. They have Cornerstone. There's just so many places and churches. All of those things you will not have a problem with in Atlanta. Chicken wings. They got the best chicken wings. I've been a lot of places in my life, y'all, and I have found no place that tops Atlanta's chicken wings. Like, they have the best chicken wings. They have one of the major airports. So if you're moving somewhere and you are worried about family members coming to visit you, they have Hartsville Jackson airport. So just being able to fly into your family won't be a problem, or your loved ones. And yeah, Atlanta's a pretty cool place. I would not, if you are considering moving to Atlanta, you are considering moving to a cool place that has a lot of things for people to do. It's a very fun city. If your friends coming to visit or coming into town to visit, they will always have something to do. I just want to set an expectation for the foundation that you should probably build when you get there. Make sure that you have stable income to maintain that fun lifestyle, because things could change in a minute there. Like, I don't even want to set the expectation that life can just be so, like, it's just a fun scene and that you're just gonna move there and become a movie star, because you might, but for some of us that's not the case. So if that's not your portion, move to Atlanta and actually set a goal for yourself and what you want your life to look like in Atlanta. If you're moving to Atlanta to party, then don't move. Don't even move to Atlanta just to party, because no. Okay, y'all, I am back again because I had to take a break. I had to make me a little smoothie. I done drink that thing though, and get my water going. I'm currently on a fast, and I had to go say my prayer and have my smoothie and my water so that I could really give y'all some information, okay? All right, so back to Atlanta. So I searched through a couple of videos because I was like, I want to make sure that I'm not missing out on any information. But then I just realized, like, everybody, at the end of the day, everybody is giving their personal experience on their move to Atlanta. So the information that I'm giving you, again, is just from my time in Atlanta. I think that Atlanta is a great space, a great place. If you are considering moving there. Again, I just would highly recommend that you have a job, that you do your research on the jobs there. Again, like I told you in the beginning of this video, jobs for me came easy because I had that hustle. But however, I had to, like, be motivated and persistent and consistent with my job search. If you don't have that, just stay at home. That's the nice way I could put it. That's the nicest way I could put it. No, seriously. If you don't have that, then if you don't already have it in the city that you live in, 9 times out of 10, just moving to Atlanta is not going to give you the motivation. It may, and if it does, praise God. But for the most part, I would say make sure you do the research on the jobs. Make sure that you do your research on the different cities, because everybody thinks that when you move to Atlanta, Marietta, Duluth, and just different areas like the south side of, they think that that's all Atlanta, and it's not. It's its own city. If you are, just do your research so that your cost of living, you'll pretty much know what you're willing to spend and where you want to live. I changed jobs a lot when I was in Atlanta. So I always probably, if I wasn't living on property or anything or traveling for the job, I had to commute for a job. I hated to commute because the Atlanta traffic is trash, baby. It is trash. It is trash. And so, yeah, but I love Atlanta. It's the South. So if you're moving from the North, it may be take you some time to get acclimated with the South, because yes, racism still exists. Yes, there are still going to be Caucasian people that are not fond of Black people, but that's okay. We're moving along. Georgia is now a blue state. Shout out to Georgia for saving the USA.
We did it, Joe. You're gonna be the next president of the United States.
And yeah, so you may have to get some used to being around like white people that may try and look at you funny, but you'll get over it easily, because Atlanta is heavily populated with African Americans. And I would just say, if you're moving with kids, just definitely do your research on the school systems for kids, like Gwinnett, Cobb, those areas. And I would also say that as it pertains to your cost of living, please be honest with yourself and just know, like, if you're the type of person that feel like you need to live around entertainment to thrive, like you need to live in the city, you need to be around the lights, just around the city area, then I would probably try to seek a job that's going to pay me 2.5 times more than my rent. And then I'll also probably try to live closer to the city of Atlanta, like close to downtown, or somewhere that is not far, that will give you that feel like you still feel like you live in the city. West Midtown, you could try that area. You could try somewhere in Buckhead that's not dead smack in the area of Buckhead. When you're trying to get an apartment in Atlanta, some things that you should consider also is they do check your backgrounds. They do want to know, wait. Let me, before I say anything, Atlanta is the home of the scammers. So if the qualifications are extremely, like you think it's just like over the top, it may not be for northerners, because I've heard in the cities up north, you do have to pay like your 1 month's rent. It's just an automatic thing. It's not based on credit. But in Georgia, they typically run your credit and your criminal background, and then they will charge you. You at least need to make 2.5 times the monthly rent or 3 times the monthly rent. And then if you don't have like proof of income, you need to at least show like an offer letter or just how you plan to maintain yourself. And it will always have to be 2.5 or 3 times the monthly rent. So for example, if you are living somewhere or planning to live at an apartment community in Atlanta that says, hey, it's going to be $1,500 for this unit, you want to make, I would just say, go ahead and say 3 times that monthly income. So however you plan to whatever you're gonna do to just move, just make sure that it's gonna show on the application, and that you make at least 3 times that in that month that income, because they do want to see that off rip. Like most times, if your credit is not good, they will even consider just, okay, well, their credit may not be the best, so how about let's just consider her income. If you don't have both of those, then yeah, you may need a guarantor, or you may need to find somewhere else to live, because if you're trying to live in an apartment community in Atlanta, they are very strict on, they make sure that they run your background. I know because I worked in property management. And I mean, when we were running applications, those are the things that we would definitely look for, even on criminal backgrounds. But the thing about Atlanta, they do have second chance apartments. They may not be in the best areas. The apartments may not be well kept, but they do have second chance apartments where they do not, if you have something on your criminal background, that's let's just say you have something on your background that is, just say you have like a misdemeanor or something that could hinder you at one apartment community. At a second chance apartment community, that may not hinder you, because they will like overlook it, but it just depends on what it is. If it's murder, no. If it's like a heavy drug charge, just depending on what it is, they will kind of like bend it a little bit. But if this is not a promise, you may want to consider just doing your research before you move, if you have any of those hindrances on your background. Other than that, y'all, I can't really think of anything else to say. I feel like I pretty much breeze over the most important parts for me, or the most important parts that you should even be considering if you're moving anywhere. Cost of living, job, and just your research on the city. Also, I want to now talk about Dallas. So someone asked me in the last video, like, would you prefer Dallas over Atlanta or Atlanta over Dallas? And honestly, y'all, I love both places. I would just say for the space that I'm in my life right now, Dallas is perfect for me. I'm in my younger 20s. I didn't mind living in Atlanta because I really wasn't checking for like no type of stability in certain areas of my life. I just wanted to be young and free, so I loved it. But now I'm in Dallas, which Houston is not far away. So even if I don't fly back to Atlanta, I can always go to Houston, or I could find places here in Dallas to party. But they have everything that I need here, so I pretty much like it. I like the that is family oriented. I like that when I want to go to brunch and I have that like luxury brunch, like where I can go and sit out on the patio and drink my mimosas and just, you know, kick it with my girls. We always have a place to go to. Like, they have all of the things that I need. I will say this, Dallas and Atlanta. So I feel like the things that people in Atlanta wish that they had as it pertains to like certain types of restaurants and certain types of like things to do, we have that here in Dallas. And then in Dallas, they desire that nightlife that Atlanta has. I wish that both places could find that happy medium, and then those will be just like, it probably would be oversaturated. But other than that, I really love Dallas. I really, really love Dallas. Dallas and Atlanta. I have a desire to live in like four different cities, and it was Atlanta, Dallas. I've lived in Charlotte, and I would love to live in LA. So I am just waiting on God to give me the yes, and seeing when I can leave Dallas and go to LA, or if he doesn't have me go to LA at all, I'm okay with that. However, Dallas, I like Dallas. I love Dallas. It has everything that I need. I had a job when I got here. The cost of living is almost actually the same as Atlanta. The only difference is that Dallas is way bigger, and so they still do have apartments that don't cost you an arm and a leg, and it's nice, and you get more bang for your buck. So basically, you get more options for the amount of money that you're willing to spend, and I love that option. I love that option. And so that's another thing, the cost of living. Now, if you're looking for partying in Dallas, right, like for me, there are places that I like to go. I'm 28, so where my partying lifestyle right now is not top tier. It's not like, oh, I need to be in this section at this place. I'm good to last after a brunch, okay? Because after that, I need to go home and get in my bed in my pajamas and watch something on the TV, you know? Like, I don't have it in me no more. I'm pretty simple. I like to travel. I love to have brunch. And then I'll just sit home and just be on Pinterest and creating. I'm not really a party going kind of person, like I'm outgoing, but I'm not like a nightlife outgoing type of person. So for me, the times that I have been out to clubs, I did it when friends came into town and we had a blast, and it was fun, and it was just enough for me. Like I was able to get back home. I got back home at 2, but it was fun. It was good, clean fun. So I would say here in Dallas, the nightlife, it's fun. It just depends on what you like and what you like to call fun. And I would say just getting a job here. Dallas is a place you can move to with no job. I'm not going to even lie and say you can't, because they're hiring so many places. There's so many places that are hiring here. I was like, wow, y'all have all these jobs here. Now you have to be persistent with following up with them, especially with this pandemic. You have to be really specific. I mean, you have to be really intentional about being persistent and consistent with following up and applying for jobs. Other than that, there are tons of jobs here, so you can. It's a place that I would say you can move here without a job and have a sustainable living. And also, if you had like a savings or something, and you just said you wanted to move to Dallas, I think you could get here. Dallas is the promised land. So you can do that. But definitely seek God first before you make any moves. I would say the dating life in Atlanta and the dating life in Dallas. So the dating life in Atlanta is trash. I'm just going to be straightforward. Any woman in Atlanta that is single can tell you that the dating life is horrible. I won't state the obvious reasons of why it is, but once you visit or you decide to live there, like, you'll understand why I say that. Some people are lucky and they found their soulmates, and kudos to you, girl. What is your prayer? Because look, it's not that good. It's not the dating life in Atlanta. It was a no for me. The dating life in Dallas, I have not been on any dates here. Oh wait, I've been on 2 dates. Sorry. I've been on 2 dates here in Dallas, and I wouldn't say it's trash. It's just that I moved right before a pandemic and everybody had to be in the house. So I didn't really get to have that opportunity to go out and meet people. Now when I go out and meet people, my mind is just in a different space, so I'm not even checking for anybody. So I'm definitely single and I'm not checking for anybody, and I love it here. I've made the personal decision to just wait. I just want to wait and continue working on myself and on my heart and my mind. So the dating life here, people tend to come here and find their husbands and get married. That's what I've heard. Ironically enough, I have a lot of friends that are all married and engaged. That means something. Like when I was in Atlanta, a majority of my friends are single. They were single. The ones that are not single, they moved somewhere else and they have a man. So that's my piece on the dating life in Dallas and Atlanta. I would say churches, like here in Dallas, I did find a church. I am currently starting to serve at a church, and I think it's pretty cool. And in Atlanta, I was definitely connected to a church that I love so, so much. And if you're in Atlanta, you can definitely, I think right now they're online, but it's called Belong Church. And it is Pastors LeBryant and Fanika Friend. So definitely find them on Instagram. And if you desire to be a part of that church, you can definitely get connected. I was a part of their former ministry, so I love them. Powerful people. And I think that's pretty much it for this video. I am starting to lose my voice because I was at church worship and prayer and just on this fast, y'all, and my voice is trying to like creep out on me, and I need that. So I'm not going to hold you any longer. If you have any questions, please feel free to comment in the section below, and I will do my best to try and answer any questions. And if you desire to have a part 2 where I go in depth about certain things, please let me know. I did just want to make this video just to give you a little bit of information about moving to Atlanta and Dallas. And as always, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. And I will see y'all soon. Thank you so much for joining in. Bye.